On the 29th of March, 1974, farmers in Xi'an, China, were digging a well during a drought. About 12 feet down, they struck something hard, a clay head, then a body, then pieces of pottery everywhere. They discovered the outer edge of what would become known as the Terracotta Army. When archaeologists arrived and began excavating, they couldn't believe what they were finding. An underground vault containing thousands of life-sized clay warriors, horses, and chariots arranged in military formation. And this was just Pit 1. Further excavations revealed Pit 2 with cavalry and infantry units, Pit 3 containing the command post, and Pit 4 which was mysteriously empty. To date, archaeologists have uncovered approximately 8,000 soldiers, 130 chariots with 520 horses, and 150 cavalry horses. And here's the mind-blowing part. This represents only a fraction of what's buried. The entire complex covers 22 square miles, and most of it remains unexcavated. Now, let's talk about the man responsible for this. Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor to unite China. He took power in 247 BCE at age 13, conquered 6 rival kingdoms by age 39, and created the first unified Chinese empire in 221 BCE. He standardized currency, writing, and measurements. He began connecting defensive walls into what would become the Great Wall. And he became absolutely obsessed with immortality. Historical records say he sent expeditions to find magical islands where immortals lived, consumed mercury pills believing they would make him live forever, and constructed this massive underground palace to ensure that if he couldn't achieve physical immortality, he'd at least rule in the afterlife. Construction of his tomb complex began when he was just 13 years old and continued for 38 years, employing over 700,000 workers. As we examine his megalomania, ask yourself, what drives someone to demand such a monument? Hit the subscribe button. Stay with us as we examine something truly remarkable, the artistry of the terracotta warriors. Each soldier is unique. No two faces are identical. They have different facial features, expressions, hairstyles, and body types. Some appear to be portraits of actual soldiers. The level of detail is staggering. You can see the treads on the bottom of their shoes. The armor patterns are accurate to military ranks. Their hands are positioned to hold real weapons, which were looted after the fall of the Qin dynasty. And even their hair is individually sculpted with buns and top knots matching their ranks. The warriors originally were painted in bright colors. Traces of pigment show they wore purple, red, green, blue, and white. Sadly, exposure to air causes the pigments to flake off within minutes of excavation. So most warriors we see today are terracotta colored. Recent discoveries include warriors with Greek-influenced artistic styles, suggesting possible contact between China and the Mediterranean world. We'll take a closer look at how artisans 2,200 years ago created such masterpieces without modern tools. Shifting to something much darker, let's address what happened to the real people involved in creating this tomb. Historical records by Sima Qian, written about 100 years after Qin Shi Huang's death, describe a horrifying practice. When the emperor died in 210 BCE, to keep the tomb's secrets safe, workers and craftsmen who knew about the tomb's interior were sealed inside alive. Additionally, all of the emperor's concubines who had not borne children were buried alive with him. Archaeological evidence supports this account. Excavations have discovered human remains in parts of the tomb complex, showing signs of violent death. Some skeletons show they were buried while still alive. Others show execution-style trauma. The exact number is debated, but estimates suggest hundreds, possibly thousands of people were sacrificed. This wasn't unique to Qin Shi Huang. Human sacrifice in Chinese imperial burials was common in earlier dynasties, but the scale of his burial was unprecedented. It's a sobering reminder that these magnificent archaeological sites often have dark histories. As we uncover these ancient secrets, make sure to hit that like button if you're fascinated by the intersection of artistic achievement and historical darkness. And don't forget to subscribe for more discoveries that reveal the full complexity of ancient civilizations. We've explored the Terracotta Army, but here's the most tantalizing part. The emperor's actual burial chamber has never been opened. The massive burial mound rises 250 feet above the surrounding plain and contains the emperor's tomb. Ancient historical accounts describe it in almost fantastical terms, a palace with ceilings decorated like the night sky, using pearls as stars, rivers of flowing mercury representing China's waterways, crossbow booby traps to kill intruders, and treasures beyond imagination. For decades, this was dismissed as exaggeration. But here's the thing. Modern testing has confirmed mercury concentrations in the soil around the mound that are 100 times higher than natural levels, suggesting the mercury rivers might be real. Ground-penetrating radar and other non-invasive techniques have detected a large underground structure with multiple chambers. So why hasn't it been excavated? Multiple reasons. Concern about damaging priceless artifacts with current technology. Potential safety hazards. Those mercury rivers. Possible toxic gases. Structural instability. And respect for what many consider a burial site that shouldn't be disturbed. Chinese authorities have stated the tomb won't be opened until preservation technology improves significantly. Let's talk about the engineering genius required to build this complex. The pits containing the warriors are 15 to 20 feet deep, with sophisticated drainage systems to prevent flooding. The vaults were constructed with wooden beams forming roofs, which eventually collapsed, causing much of the damage to the warriors we see today. The floor was paved with bricks. The warriors weren't built in one piece, they were assembled from separately crafted parts, legs, torso, arms, and heads, like ancient modular construction. Each warrior weighs about 400 pounds. Moving 8,000 of them into underground chambers, along with life-sized horses and chariots, required incredible logistical planning. Recent studies suggest advanced kiln technology was used to fire the clay at temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees Celsius. How did ancient Chinese engineers manage such large-scale precision manufacturing 2,200 years ago? It's a question that still amazes archaeologists and engineers today: the military detail. Here's something fascinating that often gets overlooked. The weapons found with the terracotta warriors. While looters stole most of the metal weapons after the dynasty fell, thousands of bronze weapons were recovered. Swords, spears, crossbow mechanisms, and arrows. When tested, these bronze swords were still sharp enough to cut paper. Analysis revealed they were coated with chromium oxide, an anti-rust treatment that wasn't rediscovered in the West until the 1932nd, 2,000 years later. The crossbow triggers show mechanical sophistication equivalent to firearms mechanisms. The military formations are accurate to historical Chinese battle tactics. Infantry in the front ranks, cavalry on the flanks, archers in protected positions, and command staff in the rear. This isn't just art, it's a functional military organization frozen in clay, providing historians with unprecedented insights into Qin dynasty warfare. Now, here's the exciting part. New discoveries continue regularly. In 2015, archaeologists uncovered a new pit containing stone armor and helmets, not functional military gear, but ceremonial armor for the afterlife. In 2018, they discovered acrobats, musicians, and officials, suggesting the emperor wanted entertainment and government in the afterlife. In 2020, using DNA analysis on human remains and advanced pigment analysis on warrior paint, researchers gained new insights into the ethnic diversity of Qin dynasty workers and the original appearance of the army. LiDAR and satellite imagery continue revealing new structures within the tomb complex. 3D scanning is creating detailed digital records of every warrior, preserving them digitally in case of future damage. Some researchers are using AI to match broken fragments to their original warriors, essentially healing damaged soldiers. The technology keeps improving, and so does our understanding. let's address why this discovery matters beyond archaeology. The Terracotta Army has become a symbol of China's ancient civilization and technological sophistication. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most visited archaeological sites in the world. The warriors have toured internationally, with exhibitions drawing millions of visitors and fostering cultural exchange. For Chinese national identity, the site connects modern China to its imperial past and demonstrates the country's long history of artistic and engineering achievement. For world history, it's evidence of globalization in ancient times, Greek artistic influences, sophisticated technology, and the ambition to create something that would last forever. The site employs thousands of people in conservation, research, and tourism, making it economically significant for the Xi'an region. In many ways, Qin Shi Huang achieved his goal of immortality not through magic pills, but through art that ensured he'd never be forgotten. Finally, let's talk about the ethical questions and preservation challenges these sites face. Should we open the emperor's tomb or respect it as a burial site? How do we balance scientific curiosity with cultural sensitivity? The site faces constant threats. Air pollution from Xi'an's industry is degrading the warriors. Tourism creates wear and tear, millions of visitors annually, and climate change may affect the underground stability. Conservation is incredibly expensive. Each warrior requires months of careful restoration work. There's also the question of whether artifacts should remain in China or tour internationally. Some argue international exhibitions spread knowledge and appreciation. Others say artifacts shouldn't be risked through travel. These aren't easy questions, but having the conversation is important as we try to preserve these treasures for future generations. Here's something mind-blowing to consider. What we've excavated represents perhaps 1% of the entire tomb complex. Ground surveys suggest there are dozens, maybe hundreds of other pits yet to be excavated. What else is down there? More warriors? Civilians? Palaces? Treasures? Ancient texts? Given what we've found so far, the possibilities are staggering. Chinese authorities are deliberately excavating slowly, allowing technology to improve and ensuring each excavation is done properly. This means many of us alive today will never see what's still buried, but our great-grandchildren might. It's a humbling thought that the greatest discoveries from this site might still be waiting in the dark, untouched for over 2,200 years. Thank you for joining us today on this journey through one of archaeology's greatest treasures. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any upcoming videos where we explore more ancient wonders. We've got so many more incredible stories to share with you. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep discovering the secrets of our shared past.